Hey guys, welcome to another Homelab Series video today. It has been a hot minute since the last actual technical Homelab video that I've posted, so I'm looking forward to kind of sharing with you guys some of the fun stuff that I've found over the course of the last few months. In this video, we're going to be specifically working with FormBricks and self-hosting that, and essentially it's a survey site that you can create your surveys, host it, have people answer questions, and then you can review the answers. Kind of very similar to Google Forms, but essentially you host it and you can have some fun with it. So that's what we're going to do today in today's video. So stay tuned. Let's have some fun. All right. So the first few things that we'll do is actually set up the things that we need to do to create our initial server. So we'll set up a DNS entry for it so that we can easily resolve a host name to an IP. So in my GitLab pipeline here, I actually have it such that I can easily just update this in here, and we'll name it FormBricks. And we'll set an IP here and just A. And we'll name it 98. And so from here, when I commit it, add FormBricks, it will actually go through a whole pipeline that will essentially deploy out this configuration zone file and then reload our DNS so that essentially now I can query that and it will pick up and resolve correctly. If you guys want more details on how this works, there is a video in my Homelab series that kind of elaborates in more detail of how to set up a similar pipeline to this. So. And then we'll have to add it to our Ansible playbooks repo also for the inventory so that it knows in here the host name to resolve in it. So we just add FormBricks in here and we'll save that also. Add FormBricks. And the nice thing, about Ansible, you can use AWX. In this case, that's what we're going to be using to essentially automate all your building processes so that you can just easily set up a new server without any issues. And for those of you guys who are really interested in, the details on this, check out my automation playlist. It essentially goes through pretty much each of one of these steps on what it needs to do. So we're going to just go through, in this case, use the workflow template here that will create my new VM in vCenter. Patch it, install Docker, set up some certs, and then set up Nginx that will essentially reverse proxy so I can have HTTPS on my server. So what we'll have is the host name. We'll name it FormBricks. The IP was the IP that we entered in the DNS, which I think was 98, but let's double check that, guys. In here, so 98, yep. The VM name, we'll just name it FormBricks, and then the proxy address. So this is where Nginx will proxy back to the service. So what we want to do is just look up FormBricks self-hosting Docker. There should be a link here, self-hosting Docker. And in here, it actually tells us that it will be running on localhost 3000. So what we'll do is HTTP localhost 3000. So we'll just reverse proxy back to that. We'll hit next and then launch. So this is about a 5-ish minute process where it will go through, install everything, get everything set up. So I don't even need to worry about, creating any of this. And the important part here for this, for you guys is this, we're going to go with a Docker install. So you will need Docker and Docker Compose installed if you were to set up this machine. So we'll let this run and I'll fast forward the video once the server's ready. All right, now that it's finished setting the server up, what we can do here is open a terminal window and we should be able to SSH to the machine with the URL, essentially, the DNS entry that we created. So we can do SSH root at formbricks.dragon.local. We'll accept the host key here and we will log in. So now that we got a server, we got Docker installed so that we can see, and we can look at our Nginx configuration here. And we can see that it is using proxying to localhost 3000, which is what we want. So what we'll do here is essentially go through the guide. So we'll essentially just go through and do what the guide says. So pretty simple here. So we'll make the directory FormBricks Quick Start. It could be named anything. In this case, that's what it is. We'll change to that directory. So now we're in that directory. We'll download the Docker Compose file from, looks like, their GitHub. So we'll paste that in here. So it just creates a Docker Compose file in here. Super simple Docker Compose, nothing too fancy. But we will edit a few things in here. But before that, we'll essentially go through the steps, which actually says there's two keys that you'll need to change, which they essentially already have a one-liner in there that will just give you. We'll change it and update it to a random string. So we'll just run those one-liners. So next auth secret and encryption key. So we'll just run these two, which is super simple. And then before we actually do a Docker Compose up, we'll actually edit a few things for the URLs. So we'll use our favorite editor, which is Vi in this case for me. And we're going to update a few things. So what we want to update here is the web URL. So we want this to be https formbricks.dragon.local. We'll also update down here. There should be another short base URL. So we'll just also update that in case we want to use the short base URL, which will still be https formbricks.dragon.local. And I believe those should be the only two things that you really need to edit. But you can see here where the next auth secret and the encryption key, they're randomly, 32 character hashes, and that's what you want. So that's essentially the last two commands just essentially created a hash, and that's what it inputted. So if you don't have something just random hashes, you might need to run the command again, or you can just use a random generator. But from here, we can do a Docker Compose up, and then -d for detach, so that it runs in the background. The command is also in the GUI, in the guide here. So if you forget it, you can still do it. You can get it from here. And then we'll just do a Docker Compose logs and then -f for follow. Just to kind of look at the logs, see where everything's at. Looks like everything was successful, so we're good. So we can Control-C out of that. From here, though, now we should be able to do the GUI, and we can go to formbricks.dragon.local, and we essentially get, your kind of login screen. We'll actually create an account because we don't have an account. We'll create one with an email. We'll just do dragon@dragon.local here, and then we'll just do a temporary password to meet the requirements, and then we'll log in with the account that we created. Oh. Gotta spell things right, otherwise you won't be able to log in. And then you essentially kind of they give you a quick start, which is super nice. So you can do in-app surveys, which will be more like an embedded link, or you can just do a normal link survey. So in this case, we'll just go with a normal link survey. You can start from scratch, or they kind of have some templates, which is super nice if you're kind of just trying to figure it out. So for this demoing purpose, I'm just going to collect some feedback where you just use the template. So you can see how it's pretty simple. You can see on the left side is question. You can obviously type in whatever you want here. You can enter ranges, stars, number smileys, stuff like that. I mean, it's very, detailed that you can, kind of do what you want here. And you can add more questions. You can add another question to the survey. You can see free text, single text, multi-select, picture selection, call to action, consent, date, file upload, schedule meeting. So there's a ton of options here that you can use. But to kind of show you a little bit, we'll continue settings. You can change the coloring scheme so that it looks different. So maybe we'll go with the blue, the brightness of the color, and we'll hit publish here. So in this case, it'll give us a link. So I kind of want to show you just kind of going through a form here. You can do some answers, rate some stuff, more answers, Google, and more answers. Oh. and finish. So from here, you can actually see responses too. So you can see in here, you got the feedback survey. You can see overall responses, stats, how long it takes. So it's, whatever stats you want. It's pretty neat, honestly. So you can see in here that you just kind of get everything. You get the responses, or you can just see like each response itself. You can add a note, make some tags, and then in here you can actually pause the survey if you need to, like, if you realize, hey, there's a mistake, you need to add some stuff, or you can complete it and call it completely done. So you can see, hey, we're done with the survey. We'll create a new one next year, right? So that's pretty much FormBricks in a general sense of, being able to self-host with Docker and then create a survey with it and then run through some of the statistics. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.